want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Ha Rakah Kodash, double honors unto our apostle elders which rule Great Millstone Well in Shalom, to the hopeful elect and the nation of Israel, Wa Abab Ball. So today I seen in a post from local law enforcement. They pretty much sent it out to the area on social media that to expect brothels in the area because Colorado is planning on making prostitution legal. All right, so it says right there, as of February 2026, Colorado lawmakers have introduced SB 26097, a bill which is not law yet, but a bill becomes a law. It says a bill aiming to decriminalize commercial sex work between consenting adults statewide. Which in the post of the local law enforcement in my area, they openly said that they don't arrest prostitutes anymore. You know, they said it's really not even a major deal for them, and to expect brothels, all right, whorehouses. It says if passed, this legislation would remove criminal penalties for soliciting and engaging in prostitution, aiming to improve safety and allow police to focus on coercion, meaning being coerced. The pimp, they want to get the pimp. They're pretty much saying that they don't care about the whore, the prostitute. They care about getting the pimp. All right, and today we ran to town and we went to the store, and it made me think of this because before we left the house, and now we're heading home, we seen like three women, a mother and two daughters, standing outside of the store, you know, pretty much begging for money. All right, and it made me think of how they were taking, you know, Jake into the ICE program, you know, their Ice Cube and Ice Teas that are in the streets, and they're leaving orphans, they're leaving women without husbands, right? And really, eventually, because there ain't gonna be no more work, all right, it's gonna go into prostitution, which really, for the most part, women are already prostitutes. All right, that's why they want you to have money to marry them or to buy them. You know, when they date you, you have to have a large bank account because it's prostitution already. All right, in the ancient world, all right, they were given by their father to the husband. All right, but today, women, all right, because they've been given so-called liberty under the so-called white race, all right, they can pretty much do whatever they want, and they're already selling their twat, all right? So Esau is just going to legalize it, and he said that he's going to worry about the pimp, all right? So let's go to the web search. It says
coercion.
Coercion. It says the practice of persuading someone to do something by using force or threat. See, or get the Johns, right? The ones that buy the time with the prostitute. See, it's a setup, all right? And it's really against the woman the most of all because it's going to be Jake women, all right? And salvation for a woman is marriage. And who the fuck's gonna want to marry a prostitute? You know what I'm saying? So really, it's against the woman, and it's the Edomite trying to take your God-given right of salvation as an Israelite. And our God is Yahweh, and His Son is Yahweh Shai, our Savior. All right? And it tells you in 1 Timothy 2, verse 15, notwithstanding, meaning you understand, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. See, which Esau is going to make that real hard for you, because you're used to having a job, you're used to doing what you want, you're used to saying, I don't need a man, I don't want a man, I could have any man. But now you're going to have to sell your ass because it's so expensive. One jar of dried tomatoes, all right, to season food, it was $5 with some tax. It's $7 just for some seasoning, pretty much. You see, I saw another can of tomato that was $10 just for one can. And then you got the jobs that are failing. Then you got the dollar that is being devalued. At the same time, you got war abroad and in the streets of America. You got race war, civil war, class war. All right, soon there's going to be famines. I was looking at the prices of the groceries. You know, they had this little piece that had maybe 5 strips of meat that were no longer than it was probably, the whole thing was as big as your hand and thinner than the hand. And they wanted $12. And most of the meat was full of fat. It was a majority fat. You see? So people are doing bad right now. And this is why they're legalizing prostitution. It's a sign of the economy. It's a sign of the times. So I just put it in there that when government legalizes prostitution, it symbolizes the collapse of the economy. Now I'm going to just read the highlighted literature. It says potential economic benefits. Why would they be looking for economic benefits unless the economy was doing bad? Do you understand? This is something that will make your society a slum. All right, you're going to have prostitution, drug dealing, you're going to have murder, you're going to have pretty much increased violence in the streets of America. All right, and the number one trafficker, all right, is the Ice Cube Ice-T program, which they just got caught. The head of one of their institutions, the ICE program, that he was the biggest pimp. He was trafficking. All right? So the benefit that they're looking at is for the so-called white race. They're not looking at your benefits. They don't give a fuck about your benefits. All right? It says concerns about human trafficking and exploitation. That's what they're going to be doing. Exploiting you. Because you think it's an opportunity to make a bag, maybe make a little extra money to pay your rent, pay off some debt, some school loans. Remember, they're now garnishing wages for school debt. For going to college, you accumulate debt. And they're talking, I believe they're already doing it, but garnishing wages for the debt of getting an education in America. All right? It says social and moral considerations. All right? Which you got to remember, I just read to you, a woman, and it's talking about an Israelite woman, her salvation is fulfilling her purpose, which is to be married to one man. And women, them wanting to succeed in this society, and the only success you're going to have is in prostitution. Prostitution is going to be the only solution in this society because the wicked are ruling. All right? It says the economic collapse view, some argue that in a state as model, governments may be using the sex trade to avoid finding other employment opportunities for women. You see that? There's no more jobs for the women. So Esau says, I'll create a job for you. Prostitution, bitches. You see? Now you want to sleep with all kinds of men? Now do it for money. And really, it's the Lord doing it through Edom to punish you for your wickedness, for your pride, saying you don't need a man. I could be with any man. Now you're going to have to go sleep with men that get paid. All right? And it ain't going to be the men that you fantasize about. It's going to be disgusting, stinky, violent, vile men. All right? Men that you can even imagine yourself laying with, but rent is due. So now you got to spread them butt cheeks. It says, evidence of different regions, which that don't even matter. But I want to get one more scripture and then I'm going to close out. It is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, lest Satan, which Satan in the flesh is the so-called white race, the wicked that rule the world, should get an advantage of us. For we are not ignorant of his devices. This is one of his devices. All right, he's trying to destroy people, destroy their lives, destroy their livelihood, destroy their integrity, destroy their ability to even live on a balanced level. Because these women, all right, if you understand the nature of a woman, all right, the more men that sleep with these women, the more destructive these women are going to be. Look at the documentary of the serial killer, which they called Monster, where she was used and abused since she was a teenager, having gangbangs ran on her at school. What happened? She became a serial murderer of men. All right? A spirit of vengeance. And that's what's going to happen. Murder is going to increase, whether it's men murdering women or women murdering men. All right? It's only going to get more violent because of the wickedness increasing under the wicked Edomite, the so-called white race. And I say wicked because the prostitution is going to be ran incorrectly. All right? So it's going to promote wickedness. It's not going to solve any problems. It's only going to increase problems. STDs, babies born without a stable, a father and mother situation. All right? So it's only going to get worse out here. It's only going to get more violent. The more and more they relax the laws, the more and more the people are going to get violent because they're becoming desperate. They're pretty much becoming desperate because there's no more prosperity. There's no more hope for the average American. There's no vision. Everybody's living for the moment. And once they can't see the moment, right? They can't live in the pleasure of the moment. That's when they're going to start going into each other's houses for bread and for great tribulation. It's only going to get worse from here on out until it gets better when Yahweh will send his son Yahweh Shai to set things back in order and establish the ruling class as the Israelites, which will rule in righteousness forever after this, forever and ever and ever. So before I close out, I just had to get this real quick because it came into my mind by the Spirit to use AI. And so I said, list the problems that come with legal prostitution. It says, problems often cited with legal prostitution: human trafficking. They have a problem enforcing regulations, all right? Which eventually you're going to get diseases passing around because they're not going to be held to any standard. Pretty much the rejection of these people, which would be outcast pretty much. Health and safety concerns. All right? But you're going to be finding condoms everywhere. Used condoms all over the fucking place. With diseases. It says economic exploitation, which you're going to get robbery, murder. All right? It says expansion of the sex industry. Growth in brothels, which that's what the local sheriff sent out in the social media posts in my area, pretty much to expect that there's going to be brothels. All right? Which pretty much they're going to traffic people, mostly women. I don't doubt they'll do men also, but they'll be trafficking these women. All right? It says, see, look at that. Challenges with zoning and community impact. Brothels clustering in certain neighborhoods. Hey, we got a bar in our neighborhood, and that causes enough problem. Now you're going to put a fucking brothel in there, maybe two? It's going to be a fucking crazy place. And this is going to be all over Colorado and eventually America. Right? Tourism centered around sex work. So they're going to come in and travel here just to lay with prostitutes. Right? So they're saying it's going to boost your economy, but really the backlash is going to be to the poor. All right? It says increase crimes, right? It says moral and ethical objections. Reinforce harmful gender stereotypes. I mean, it goes on and on. You can dig more and more into this. Now I'm going to finish with this last piece. All right? It says right here, prostitution and slums, why they are often appear together. Why they often appear together. So really, America's a slum. And that's why prostitution is becoming illegal. All right? It's not for economic opportunity. It's America is a slum. All right? It's a shithole. It's at the bottom of the barrel. It's the kingdom of Edom. Edom is a base man, more viler than the earth. So this place is a slum. Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel, Wa Abba Babal.